しかしいきなりやな。なんでオンラインなんか始めよう思ったんや、ヒイラギ。
先生、実はこのゲームのコラボアニメの脚本を書いてる小説家さんのファンなんです、鏡。
マジでか。とうとうヒイラギもそういう世界の住人になってしもうたんか。
こうなんだ、余計なこと言うな。
So, today I wanna do a little different story here. I wanna talk about my I'm laughing already, yeah. So I'm smiling already. So, of course, you don't know what happened, right? So you know what? Today I want to do something fun instead. I talk about my favorite moment, the memory I have the best, my best memory from Kyoani. So of course I've seen all the animes, right? I've seen Silent Wars, like my favorite movie, and I bought another Blu-ray. Now this thing happened, and of course I did like reacting to what Evergarden and so on, right? And etc. and Nishio and Lucky Star and so on. But Lucky Star then, it's probably when I really, started loving them, of course, 2007, 2008 for the OVA here. And I have this like, I don't know if it's good or not, but this is like my, thank you, Kyoani, because I never forget this thing. Because it becomes more like a story of an event. Because it becomes more of a story event, more than just, I watched it animated, it was great, right? So, what happened was that I was back in college, in university, and I was like 18, 19, I think it was 18 at the time, yeah, and I watched, of course, Lucky Star then, and I remember who was friend, introduced me to Hugo, great guy, introduced me to Lucky Star. So anyway, I was watching Lucky Star, right, and this is the OVA then, and of course I love Lucky Star, right, and I'm a big laugher and so on. And we get to this scene where we get to the MMO part, and of course I'm studying, and I work for the game industry, so now I worked with games already at the time. So extra funny, right? It's like, I love the thing, and the thing that happened then later on in the episode, so let's play the episode quickly, right? They go through, they play a Murphy, right? Of course, Nana says she's like, she's playing with Konata and so on, right? And she plays pretty good, and then what happens in the end, right, is that she, of course, over levels, she goes away, right, and she like trades, and how do I say it? She like she super farms in the end, right? So it ends kind of like this. Yeah, so they're gonna come back here, right? And they're gonna end with her being extreme. Yes, here we go, yeah. Next week. Yeah, there we go. Yeah! Yeah, so Sensei has a super power level in the secret, right? Sensei super power in the secret, yeah. And that's kind of how it ends. And I mean, the whole episode's amazing, of course. But that was, to me, I was laughing out loud. I was like screaming, laughing at that scene the first time I saw it. I was so laughing at it. It was so good. So I love that. The Sensei's like, wait, next week he's been power leveling, yeah. So what happened was then, this was about like, here goes the story then, I suppose, when I can frame it here, is that it's about like 8 or 9 or so when I watch the anime, right? And I laugh a lot, and probably social neighbors. And then, 3-4 hours later, like, and I'm talking like 2 a.m. in the night, like half 2 a.m., 3 a.m., so 2 a.m. at the beginning. I'm lying in bed, and I'm lying this like, I'm an overthinking guy. So when I start to sleep, I'm always like, oh yeah, this thing, remember. So I start thinking about the episode. I start thinking about Lucky Star when I'm lying in bed. And I was like, oh, Sensei! And I keep laughing. And I start laughing really loudly. And I can't stop laughing. And I was like, oh, that was so good. And I keep like, I'm laughing to myself, like really, really loudly. Really, really loudly. And I just keep doing that for like an hour. I'm not making it up. I can't stop laughing. I'm just like, oh god, it's so funny. I gotta love Lucky Star. And I keep laughing, right? And it's like 3 a.m. And, because the time passes, right, and I keep laughing, I can't stop thinking about it, and I can't stop laughing, so I'm just lying in bed, like, hysterically laughing, like a complete, like, I don't know, it's like a brain head, it was like crazy. And then, of course, my neighbor comes, right, because I'm living in this, like, dorm, you had your own apartment, but you shared kitchen and so on, so quite small little apartments, right, for students. So, of course, my neighbor comes, like, 2 neighbors, right, 2 different neighbor comes, right, one under me, one like next to me, and so they come, right, and they're knocking on my door, right, and I'm just like, and as being then, as being a Swede, right, as being like the basic Swedish nature, when someone knocks on your door as a Swede, what you do is like, oh, I'm not home, pretend you aren't home. That's a play number 1, yeah. pretend you are not here because you never have a conflict. I actually love conflict, but I have another great story actually where I had a kitchen conflict with a guy at the same time actually, roughly. But whatever, I actually kind of like that. But normally still though, kind of culturally wise, I'm like, no, I have to just not have any conflict. Yeah, very very that's very Swedish. Which is similar to Japanese people, yes. They're very much like, no, I can't do it. so I just pretend to be like, I'm at home, I have to be quiet. But then in my head, I keep thinking like, man, this is really funny because I can't stop thinking about the joke, and now I've made the neighbors angry, and I'm like, so I can't be quiet, right? So I start laughing again, and I can't stop myself. So I'm lying there trying to be, I can't stop laughing, and they bang more and so on, right? So of course. Eventually I'm like, okay, screw it, it's time for conflict. I have to confront my fears of my neighbors, right? Because it's very, very unculturally failing of me, right? And so I go to the door, right? And I open the door and so on. You know the whole drill, right? And I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm watching this great anime, it's really funny. And they're like, can you start watching anime? I watched it, was like 5 hours ago, but it's still really funny to me. It's just the best thing ever, so I'm still laughing at it. And of course, after that, I'm stuck in this way to, okay, so I have to like explain this anime now to these two people, right? That never watch animes in their life. They barely know what anime is, and they know nothing about the general anime, manga, and so on. So then I have to stand there. It's like 3 a.m., maybe like half 4 now, almost right. I have 33 a.m. something like that, and I'm trying there to like, I'm gonna try to explain to you what what Lucky Star is. So I'm like, yeah, it's about this like 4 girls, and it's like one of them, she's really funny, she's called Konata. It does Iran's like a really great voice. Yeah, and she's like a really nerd, this otaku girl who plays the games, and she's really and the joke is that she plays the game with other girls, and the sensei, teacher, so she plays wisdom, and they're like, yeah, they got a little lost, right? And I'm like, and the punchline is that they go away for a week, and then Sensei, because she's like a loner that doesn't have a husband, and she's like, yeah, and she has like, there's like a spring weekend, she's like, he plays games, and then they come back, and she's too over level, and they can reach for the other ones, and I'm trying to explain that, right? And I'm always like very energetic, I'm very Genki, right? As well, right? I'm very Genki, and I keep laughing about it, because it's like, when I'm explaining it, to me at least, it becomes even funnier. And the whole incident, it is really, really funny too, yeah. So I just keep talking about it, yeah. So I just doing the whole thing, right? And they just like... so that didn't work very well. But of course, I am in this mode now because I'm like, man, this is the best anime ever. So, and obviously you don't understand what I'm saying, but I keep telling you this story anyway because I'm like, this is my chance to tell anyone about how great Like a Star is. So I'm like, you should go and watch it. I'll try to make them like, go and watch the anime, you understand what I mean? So I'm trying to sell it, but I try to sell it instead. So I try to spend my time selling it. You should really spend your time watching this anime. And so on. So it was hilarious. It was hilarious. I thought so at least. But that's kind of the story. Eventually, of course, I don't know. Eventually, I was really tired too, I guess. It was like 4 a.m. in the end. After a while, they left, and I was like, okay, I promise I'll do it again, right? And they left, and I was like, but I was really, really tired, so I kind of like managed to fall asleep eventually. But yeah, that so yeah, anyway, so it's a weird story, but that is my that's my personal biggest memory that I will never forget about a Kyoani show. Yeah, so I watched Like a Star. It was so funny that I couldn't stop laughing, and then I was laying all night and I was laughing, and it really felt like one of those. I don't remember, but I remember as a kid I read a story about Donald Duck, Kalle Anka, when he was thinking about a really good joke and he couldn't stop laughing, so he had to like throw out in the forest because he would keeping the whole neighborhood up and so on. And it felt like that. I was like a freaking, weird character in this comic that I just can't stop laughing. My power of not laughing and trying to explain the anime to these other people. And I'm like, it's about 4 teenage girls, and I'm trying to explain it. And then they play this MMORPG, and they're like, MMORPG? They didn't know gaming either. There was this thing about it was like 12, 11 years ago. So yeah, so these people were better. They didn't even know what game. They didn't know what game it was either. I mean, they probably know what game was. I mean, in general, but like at that time, I guess World of Warcraft was pretty famous. I was like, it's like World of Warcraft, and they're like, World of Warcraft. I know that. Yeah, so it was kind of like that too. So that also like secondarily because I was trying to explain the joke by leveling and grinding and so on. So I was like trying to explain that the XP system and levels and so on in role-playing games. So it's like the story has become more and more complicated to explain it, right? And then I was like, yeah, she's like an otaku, and they're like, what? Yeah, so I was like, okay, I have to, sorry, I have to take a few steps back here. She's like a nerdy girl that's really hilarious, and I have to like take a few steps back here, and how to try to explain the story, right? But anyway, yeah, that's the story. I hope you liked it. That's my biggest memory of Kyoani. That and the time that I started crying at my office when I watched Silent Voice, the trailer. I thought it's another video, but yeah, the Silent Voice trailer was out just 4 years ago, and I had my own office. So yeah, so I watched because I'm hard at work, so I watched the anime trailer at my office, and before like when the song starts in the trailer, I was like, oh, this is the saddest story ever. So I like started crying already at like half the trailer. I was like, oh my god, because I read the manga though, so I knew how it was gonna go, right? So I was like, oh my god, that's one of the worst I've had in my life. I actually found the manga by random, and I read the whole manga like in one night. But it was only chapter 50 or so at that time frame. But yes, I read the whole thing like in one sitting, and I was like, I was just like, it was the worst emotional thing ever. It's like, this is the greatest bully story, realistic, sad manga ever in my life. So then that trailer popped out a few after that, and I was like, oh god, I'm remembering all the emotions. Yeah, so I started crying. That's I don't know, that's also a story I remember, but it's just kind of me crying for a bit in my own office, and then trying to pretend I didn't cry in the office for all the people that I'm working with. But I had my own office, so no one saw me crying, but like afterwards, I had teary eyes and so on, right? So I was like, no, I haven't cried. My life is great. Yeah, and then it's like, should I explain to them that I was crying for an anime, or should I pretend that something bad happened? That's why I'm crying. Yes, I was like, no, nothing bad happening in my life. Yeah, I don't want to like lie about that. So I was like, no, I haven't cried. You're crying. Yeah, it's like whatever. That's a short story too. But yeah, that story was, I remember it very well because it was so emotional seeing the amazing trailer right away. Yeah, so that was really special in that sense. But I think the older story is a little more. I hope so. I mean, the older story feels a little more like it's like a funny story there. So I want to give a funny story now. The funny part of Kyoani, right? So, anyways, hope you liked the video, guys. See you in my next. I guess I don't know, live video, whatever. Yeah, subscribers. Yeah, whatever.